Hey guys, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with a brand new Platinum Trophy guide, and that is going to be for the game Abyssus. Now, Abyssus is a roguelike shooter that allows for up to 4-player co-op. Now, for the Platinum Trophy, you can earn everything on your own. You can, I think, have people help you with certain achievements. I cannot prove that, as I did everything on my own for the most part. Now, for the basis of the game, I'm going to be walking you through certain things, how to unlock weapons, and all that good stuff. Boss guides, I'll try and do my best on, showing you how to fight each boss, their move sets and patterns, and everything like that, and everything that I can. So, as well, I'm also going to be going between my main profile, and then I will be doing a new profile for the sake of the Platinum Trophy Guide. That way you guys know exactly what it is that you can achieve. But for now, I think I should just hop in and do a tutorial profile, I guess. So we will just change that. There we go. So hopping in, you'll learn the basics of the game, and then from there, we will get to how to actually play the game. So as you'll see here, start, you'll have your main weapon, your engine rifle, and then once you pick up the weapon, you can then melee using circle. You've got to jump, you've got to dash. Now, one of the achievements or trophies you're going to be working on is breaking 1,000 pots or breakable objects. That'll come naturally over time, especially when you have pots that are gold. So as you can see here, I'm casually clearing the overall tutorial. As you can see, there was a gold pot that gave me some money. Here in the tutorial, you'll learn how to use the engine rifle. Not hard at all, as you'll see. You'll learn to use everything that you need to progress. So now you'll have your first starting room here with some basic enemies. As you'll see, you've got these melee types. Best with these is to just try and take them out from afar, or let them get close and then bait an attack, and then deal damage. There we go. And then after so many rooms, you will get a blessing altar. Blessings can basically increase how your run will go, or the success of your run, depending on what you go for. Do note there are a bunch of them, and you will eventually need to learn how all of them function. So don't worry, I'll try and do my best to go over everything that we'll need to. But for now, just completing the tutorial shouldn't be that hard. Most of the enemies aren't that tough. They won't throw any weird curveballs at you. So as you'll see, they'll basically just show you how the blessing system works. And here you'll have your charms, which are your necklaces. And then while we're at it, we're going to just come over here and break more pots for more gold. Even though the tutorial doesn't give you a shop, it's still working towards the progress. Here you have this big guy. As you'll see, he goes down pretty easily. So depending on what you're trying to do with a certain weapon or certain blessings will really determine the kind of playstyle you want to go for. Now, eventually you can have it to where you always get exactly what you want. So after so many, as you can see, we will get something that is pretty good at every 3 and 6. And then here you got a logbook for lore. You won't need to get those, though, for the most part. But that is pretty much the tutorial. As you can see, we're now at our hub area, as you can see. This is where you'll customize and change every single aspect of gameplay that you're going to go through. So here is where you can modify your server, or I don't know about inviting people, if they've fixed that yet or not. But down here is one of two things that you'll need to know. Here's your workbench that will get you all your customization for your weapons and your ability. For now, we don't have anything. But the first weapon you can unlock in Abyssus after the tutorial is the Bryant Revolver. You're probably seeing it right now on screen. As you can see, it is right here. You don't have to do anything, it's just free. Not too bad. Now the next thing to talk about is your soul wheel here. These are also permanent upgrades to your player and are very worthwhile. You will get those from beating elite and bosses every 2 and 4 depths. And that is more or less the main thing to really talk about right now before we just jump into our first official run. So we're just going to jump in, and I'm going to try and do my best to show you guys how your first experience can go and what we can try and do to ensure we, get something good. So depending on how you want to do this, you can hope that you get a good blessing when you start, but we'll try and do what we can. Now there's a few achievements or trophies I'm going to try and point out and do in my first run. That way you guys can see that they are actually doable. And then, depending, I will probably dedicate a specific video to certain runs to make it a lot easier, if that makes any sense. As some of the challenges are specifically tied to certain restrictions or making the game harder on yourself. Wow, the game's being kind of generous. So another thing to note is you also want to try and stay as mobile as you can. So like if, as you can see, I'm staying in a corner, but by moving back and forth or in a kind of clockwise pattern or counterclockwise pattern, I'm able to dodge most of the shots and damage that would be coming at me. And then, like I said, any chance you can break pots, as it's towards a achievement / trophy as well. It's, I think, 1,000. So per each depth is 3 rooms that you'll need to beat for the most part. So as you can see, I'm more or less just trying to make my way through. And after about 3 rooms, you will then get a blessing altar. I'm going to go with Aspect of Frost on my primary. Frost is really good as a support type. And then here you can see is a locked room that will have a bunch of gold and a chest in it. We don't have a key, so that's okay. We will move on. Now on, like I said, every 2nd and 4th depth or floor, depending on how you want to look at it, of each area, you'll get a elite and then a boss. You'll still have the 3 rooms that you do before. As you can see, with Frost, you can basically freeze enemies in place. Now, another thing I forgot to mention, and I'll go into detail about, is mod unlocks for your weapons. So every weapon has 3 primary fires and 3 secondary fires. You automatically start with 1 for each, and then there's 2 you can unlock for each new one. So depending on what you're going for will determine what you're trying to do. Now, in some cases, it's better to just specifically go for the unlocks and then be done. Now, do note that one of the unlocks for every single weapon is to just beat a run with that weapon. So if there's a certain weapon that you're kind of struggling with, I will try and do my best to show off a run for each of those weapons. That way you guys can see. Now, as you'll see, every so often, depending on your run, you can get these challenge rooms that will have certain objectives for you to do. As you can see, though, still by just moving clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever, around will ensure I am okay. As you can see, mobile is best. As this will help preserve your health as much as you can. If you can, just try and focus on single targets to really slim down everything. And then when you got nothing left, then you can just solely focus on the one. There we go. Here we will have our first elite, and this will get us our first trophy. Now, do note another thing that we can do is we can also earn a challenge or a trophy for beating an elite / boss with a melee attack. So that's what I'm going to try and do, and I'll show you guys how. So, as you can see, his main weak point is the giant red core. As you can see, it's not too bad. Get him frozen. So the idea is just to get him low enough that when we go to melee him, it will kill him. Take out any enemies along the way that are turning out to be annoying. Like I said, you're just staying mobile. And then he's about low enough. There we go. Got 2 achievements in 1 run. And every elite will also give you a soul fragment. And then you'll also get a green and red orb, which will increase your HP by 25. And the red orb will heal you. Now, after your first elite boss, we can unlock our second weapon of Abyssus. And that is the shotgun, found here at the camp. Now from here, if you just turn around, we got our next blessing to choose from. Now, I'm going to go for Aspect of the Night, just because it'll be more helpful for what I need right now with what I have set up. Gold is probably my favorite to go for, but not with this weapon. Certain weapons just benefit from certain aspects a lot better than others. Now from here, we're going to move on. Now, as you can see, like probably another one that would have been really good to get on our primary would have been lightning or fire. Fire is also really good, but we didn't, so that's okay. Now, eventually you can unlock the ability to re-roll blessings, so you can get the blessings you want. For now, though, we should just focus on trying to get through and get as far as we can. I'm going to try and see how far I can get this first run to go. I'm not expecting it to go far, but we'll just see. So, the main reason why I took the Shadow Blessing for my ability is because what this does is it makes everything take more damage when it has that on it. So as you'll see, and then that in combination with the frost, it does a lot of damage. Which isn't that bad. Which I'm mainly just going to try and use that on bosses to give myself more damage against those. So as you can see, the frost is really nice because freezing enemies just stops them in their tracks. They fall, you can just then lay into them as much as you want. Haha, funny game, a locked chest when I don't have any keys. Funny. Now these guys are ones I definitely want to take out first, as they're just annoying overall. Same with that big guy. I'll try and, if I can, take him out. If not, I'm just going to try and run around and avoid him. As you can see, his weak point is on his back. So I'll just hit him with this. There we go. Pretty easy overall. And then I'm going to buff up my freezing. We'll give ourselves more overall damage from freezing. So now we're going to be on to the fourth area, and this will be the boss area. Before you head to the boss, every boss area will have a shop for us. So depending, this will allow us to get something good. You know, it will take another aspect. So then the next achievement that we can earn, so now we've earned 2 so far, beating our first elite, and also beating an elite with the melee attack. Before entering the boss of the temple, if you turn right here, you'll find this little brazier, and that'll get us our next achievement. Now the next one we can earn is for beating this boss, the Golemancer. He can be a bit tough, but his pattern is pretty simple. He'll always jump at you and try and slam down on you. He'll then fire out these orbs that will have fields that deal damage over time. And as you can see, he can also send out a shockwave. So the main idea is to just hit him with our ability to make sure he takes more damage, and then just lay into him as much as we can. And then at his first, third, and second third, he will then have it where he spawns these little pylons we need to deal with. Trying to just make sure I'm aware of what's going on. There we go. And his weak point, as you can see, it's right there in the center. And then eventually in phase 2, as you can see, he will also cause certain parts of the floor to light up, and that will cause more damage to happen. Once again, once he's at his next chunk of damage, just gonna deal with all that. Hit him with the ability to make sure he takes more damages from all sources. I'll try and keep that as stacked up as I can. And then in phase 3 is whenever he will try and charge at you. And there we go. That'll be our next achievement done. As you can see, his body will get in the way, so we'll just move that around. We'll get some soul fragments and get another charm. I'm going to pick up this one and then just drop it. Anything you don't want, you can melee for more gold, so keep that in mind. The reason why I pick up anything and then just drop it is so it gets cataloged that I have picked it up, as we'll need that for a lot of things. Now, the next thing to note is that you're going to get your turret, probably my favorite ability in the game, and there is a weapon locked behind this, but you will have to beat that boss a second time. That is something I've noticed that is just a thing for all of the bosses, is you will need to beat them 2 times for certain weapons or abilities. So just keep that in mind. So now we're going to move on to the second area of the game, and that is the gardens. As you can see, having frost does pretty well, and then having the tentacles isn't too bad, as the tentacles can just throw objects at enemies, and since they'll take more damage from everything, yada yada yada, you guys get it. I'm basically ensuring that I'm setting myself up for a good run. Anytime you have enemies that just explode, it's best just to get rid of them as quickly as you can. There we go. A free chest is quite surprising. Maybe it'll give me a key. I'm going to pick this up for the sake of picking it up, but I don't actually like it. Do note that depending on the rarity of the charm will determine how much gold you get from breaking it. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, we got another one of these guys over here. Now, another thing that you should probably be slowly learning to do is in each area, kind of memorize what the enemies do. So, are they melee? Are they ranged? Do they support? Do they buff? You know, stuff like that is something that you want to kind of take note of. That way you know how to move and avoid enemies. And then also taking note of the room that you're in will also help. So if you know you have a room that you can run around as much as you want, and it's not going to have any areas that you're going to fall through, then you can freely move through it without any issues, for the most part. So like for instance, okay, I'm trying to kite around and deal with enemies in a way that they have to follow me because I know like they're melee based, then knowing that the path I can take, whether it's going up, going down, you know, yada, 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 to ensure that my survival is key. And then the more you play the game, the more runs you do, the more familiar you're going to get with map layouts, which is always super nice. So I know that the enemy in the back over there is a like supporter type, as he will try and call down explosions on my location. As you can see, there we go. And then the rest are just, you know, chump change. There we go. Surprisingly, the game's given me a lot of free chests, which is weird. Now, if I'm lucky, I will get a locked room on this run. If not, I'm not lucky. That's all I can really say, as the next ability that you can probably unlock is here in the gardens. The downside to it, though, is that you have to have a key to unlock it. Now, do note, you can have it to where you start with a key, so don't worry about that too much right now. But it is something to take note of. So now I'm going to try and take out these support enemies, because I know they're pain. And I know I need to heal. So I'm going to try and focus on that. Okay. There we go. Just trying to get away from anything that's exploding or melee to ensure I don't take unnecessary damage is always key here. You can see those guys shoot explosives, and we can move on. Now, probably after this first run, depending on how far I get, will determine a lot of things. Here we have our second mini-boss of the area, or of the game. You'll always encounter this guy. He's not too bad. He will always either start by charging at you like so. So what you want to do is then just kind of go in a clockwise or counterclockwise pattern to avoid his dash attack and his him hitting you, and then the shockwave. As you can see, though, it's not the worst. And then every so often he'll go into the middle, You can also bait in some of his other attacks by getting close to him. So here what I'm going to do is kind of go in a clockwise kind of pattern and then try and bait him into certain attacks. He'll go into the middle again. Once again, I'll wait until I know he's about to charge, and then I'll jump and dash. And then it's just about avoiding the shockwave. That went really well. He goes down, gets some more healing and upgrades. I'll just pick up any and all new charms to catalog it, and then break the one I don't want. Now here, after the second elite boss in the gardens, you will find the Tesla gun right here. It'll always be there, so in case you miss it, it isn't going anywhere. Now we can move on, and we're just going to full go into Frost, I think, and move on. I could probably go more into the ability to increase overall damage, but I think the Frost is really where it's going to be at. Now, for your first run, you more or less just have to take what you can get, is really the sad truth of it. As you can see, the further you get, the more likely enemies are to really start showing you up. Okay, well, that was that. Sadly, I will probably end up doing another run just for the sake of things, but not with the engine rifle. So now that we've got probably one of my favorite weapons, you'll get to see how good starting off can be. So as you can see, you'll see all your challenges that you've completed and unlocks. You've got the shotgun, got the brazier, defeating the boss of the temple, got the turret, and we got the Tesla gun. And then you'll also get another trophy for failing your first run. That's not too bad. So we'll return to lobby. Like I said, the more you play the game, the stronger you're going to get. Oh, there we are. Now, I'm going to check something to see. So if you come here to the right of the soul wheel, I'm trying to see, does this unlock it? Nope. Okay, like I thought. So here we have the soul wheel. So we've got 9 fragments. We can probably just get everything on this bottom level. So we increased our weapon damage, increased our syringes, area of effect damage. Re-rolling blessings is also really good to help us out. So from here, we're going to look at our workbench. And like I said, the next thing to talk about is your mods for your weapons. Depending on the weapon will determine what challenge you have or what you'll need to do. For the most part, like I've said, you will need to beat a run with every single weapon, and that'll get you the mod, and then that'll also get you an achievement in itself. As you can see, complete an expedition, killed 10 enemies without reloading with the engine rifle. That one is really easy. You just use your secondary fire for everything. That's it. Then you've got kill 30 enemies with explosions, basically just using the frag grenade while using the engine rifle will get that unlocked. Get 3 kills while the engine rifle is overheated is also pretty easy. So like you spam your overheat ability and then use your secondary to get overheat, and then use your primary in like the first room to get the 3 kills. It's really not that hard. But like I said, we also unlocked the shotgun after beating the first elite in the temple. We got the Tesla gun for beating the second elite in the garden, and we got the Brian revolver for free. So now I'm going to swap to the Tesla gun, and then I'm going to swap to the turret. There we go. Tesla gun, pretty simple, standard laser. The main thing about the Tesla gun that's so nice is the bouncing orb that we can shoot out by charging up our secondary. Super nice, right? Now, I'm going to show you guys how good that this gun can be and how your first run can go really well. So, let's jump right into it. Alright. Now, apart from this first video trying to show you how far you can get at the start of the game and trying to go over specific achievements, now as you can see in the loading screen, we have a different starting area. Here we've got the submarine. The submarine can be one of the 2 starting areas you can get, so just keep that in mind. So, what I like about this is I can just do this. Like, I don't really have to try that much with this combo to clear out rooms, defeat enemies, you know. I just throw my turret down somewhere, and then I just start firing my secondary. I'll fully charge it up, and it does the rest. As you can see, boom, done. Moving on. Funny. Game's got a sense of humor. Break any gold chests we can. If there's some melee enemies, I'll probably swap to dealing with them first. But as you can see, the turret is also strong enough that it does really well on its own. So now that I can re-roll my blessings up to 3 times, I'm trying to go for something pretty solid. Now, I didn't get anything like that. That's okay. I'll probably just put this shadow on my primary fire. That way I can just hit some enemies and get them weakened, and then swap to my secondary fire. Sorry if you hear that. It would have been nice if I could get it on my ability, but oh well. Because as you can see, even without having a blessing on my actual weapon, just have, or a good blessing that I'm trying to go for, right? But just having my turret and my secondary ability that can hit enemies multiple times, I really don't need to worry about if I get a bad blessing right now. So here is a objective that you can get on, I believe you can only get it on this. But it's Ring the Bell. It's not that hard, as you can see. You can literally just fire your secondary at it. Take out the support enemies, because they'll give enemies a shield. Another thing that you can do is you can just fire the secondary at the ground at your feet to try and just deal with enemies. Or just do that. Like I said, it's really not that bad. Get some soul fragments, and we'll move on. I think we're almost in time for a... Oh, that's throwing me off a little bit there. For our next blessing, as you can see. Now, do note that whenever it comes to certain things, I'll try and do my best to see if it's possible doing it with different ways for certain challenges. So just, you know, take note of that. So here is one of the things we unlocked. This is a ancient forge. So depending, we can go for weapon or ability. I think the weapon itself is fine, so I'm going to go for an ability. So I'm going to go for cooldown. Because having a cooldown is nice. That means I can throw more turrets out. And then here we have our next blessing. Hopefully we get something good. That's really not that good. but we'll put that on our ability. Here we'll have the mini boss of the submarine. Basically, this guy will have these 3 containers here, as you can see. And we're just going to... There is a challenge related to this that I'm going to try and work on. So the idea is that we try and get these all low enough that we break them within a certain time of each other. If that makes any sense. So what I'm going to do is throw this here, get that one low again, and then just dodge to my heart's content. Break that one. Break that one. And then you just have to focus on the core. Sadly, that didn't go to plan that I wanted, but that's okay. Get that, get our first charm. We'll pick it up just because. Now, you can actually drop things. Like that one doesn't matter because I'm playing solo. Alright. Last chance, and we got it. Okay, so getting gold on your secondary is basically GG. Now you're wondering, well, how is it GG? So basically, we're increasing our gold. We have a chance to inflict, or we have a chance to deal gold burst damage. So since our attack can hit multiple times, we can just do it multiple times. And as you can see, we also have a challenge for not taking damage for 3 rooms. It sounds hard. It's really not. So all you're going to do is just, like I say, just go clockwise, counterclockwise, stay immobile. Getting a key is nice. And then as you saw, the damage that we do overall with our secondary fire alone, proccing multiple times, since I know I got a tough enemy following behind me, what you can do is just bait them in. There we go. There we go. Boom. Done. Here, I can just stay back and whittle everything down. If anything gets too close, I can then just start making my move across. Because I know the enemies don't actually, or the support enemies can't actually damage me, stay back. I see this guy coming through. Boom. Free chest. A second key is always good. And then I'm just going all in on the gold. So hopefully this run can be a clear. That's what I'm going for. I don't have the best support type abilities or blessings, but that's okay. Before each boss, you then have a chance to get other things. I'm gonna take the syringe just for added security. Here we have the boss of the submarine. He's not a bad fight either, really. With what we got, it's not going to be a good fight, I'll say that. But you'll start off with melee enemies and ranged enemies from both the left and right spawning. And then the boss will actually be shooting down payloads as well. So, like always, just kind of go clockwise. There we go. As you can see, he will then also sometimes jump and dash at you. And then he has this attack chain where he'll run, and every single time he slams his foot down, he'll stomp. He then will slam down and send out a shockwave of attacks at you. He can spam his aerial attacks. And then, last but not least, he has this projectile fire that he can do. As you can see, my damage isn't the greatest, and that's okay. From here, you're just gonna try and stay mobile. Whenever you can, try and bait him into a corner. Then you can just kind of sit back, deal damage. That way you're far enough away that when he starts doing the stomp, you can then just easily get out of there. And then as you can see, his weak point is his head. Okay. So, like always, you're just going to want to move in a clockwise, counterclockwise motion depending on what the boss is doing. So, since I can see he's about to attack there, I then go clockwise again. There we are. And since there's fewer enemies to have to deal with, I'll then come back, wait. Hit him with my primary ability, so it'll take more damage from all surfaces. And then I'm just spamming my secondary into the ground as much as I can. And then I know that my turret is about to be able to be re-summoned. Far enough away, this shockwave isn't going to hit me. And I'm far enough away that I should be able to avoid his stomp attack. Do note that there isn't a trophy for beating him. I think I've said that before. There we are. But it shouldn't be that bad of a fight. As you can see, reloading. Bait him into a corner. Basically just kind of hit him with like a 1-2 punch combo to where I'm lightly tapping him with my primary and then going all in on my secondary. So let's see, head start. I'm gonna pick it up. That's right, I don't have anything else, duh. Alrighty. There we go. And we'll get some free healing before we move on. So, like I said, your first two areas, you have a chance of being the temple or the submarine. Your second area is always going to be the gardens, so just keep that in mind. As you'll see, just being able to spam and annihilate enemies from a range that they can't do anything about is awesome. This gives you so much more safety as well. And then if you really need to, you then just, tap them with your primary, because it does the shadow damage, so they'll take more damage from all sources. Now, the main thing I'm trying to hope I get lucky on is getting a locked room. I'm going to take that over the one I had. I now deal 20% more damage to bosses and elites. That's always good to have. But as I was saying, the next ability that we can unlock right now is the anchor. The anchor is found here in the garden, and it will allow us to slam down a giant anchor that deals massive damage. But the only way to get it is by getting a locked door, which requires a key, which we have 2 of. As you can see, whenever we do get a proc of Gold Burst, it's really nice. So here I'm kind of just lightly spamming my secondary on the ground. That way it's low enough to register against a bunch of these melee enemies. As you can see, there we go. See the last one's up there. Boom, done. Let's go. Now this is our third. If we get gold, yes, we then get an aspect. So now that we have a way of achieving even more wealth, not wealth, God, certain English words. But now we have a chance to get more money, so basically when an enemy dies shortly after we hit them with Gold Burst, it's GG. I haven't even been throwing down my turret. That's how good this ability is. Now, just because the ability is good doesn't mean that I'm good. I can still suck and throw the run if I play bad enough. So, as you'll see, more or less just getting a bunch of money every single time we fight and kill enemies. It's always good. We still have a chance, though, to get our chest. So that's the main thing I'm hoping for. I'm trying to take out these support guys first. Just because they're annoying, as you can see. Take out this guy. There we go. As you can see, we're slowly just gaining more and more money. The cool thing about it is we can just sit back. There we go. And as you can see, I'm still trying to stay mobile, but I'm also trying to clear the objectives. As you can see in the bottom right, my money is just slowly going up and up and up and up. And I think we unlocked one of the mods for the Tesla gun on accident in this run. Not that hard to achieve, but... Okay, there we go. All done. No door yet. That's okay. We've made it back to the second boss, or a second elite of the run. In some cases, it's better just to have... Oh, that was terrible. That was not how you do the fight. Okay. Like I said, you want to kind of stay centered. Go counterclockwise kind of motions. Since he's centered, I'm going to try and move to make myself centered. Okay, then I'll rotate towards him. Boom, just like that. There we go. Once again, go in a clockwise motion, counterclockwise motion. This fight's a little slow just because there are better support blessings we could have gotten. But it's not like the worst. Okay. As you can see, holding on to that secondary jump is really crucial for some of these boss fights. And he goes down. Ooh, we got a legendary. That's pretty rare. Let's see what we got. That's GG. That's it. That it doesn't matter. So, fan, as you can see, I now shoot 3 orbs. So whatever I need, it's golden. I'll take the coin flip. So now you'll be able to see that we can easily make it through this run. Now, if you don't get fan on a run, that's okay. Getting fan is pretty nice, but it's not the like make or break of a build. As you'll see though, being able to fire out a bunch of projectiles definitely means that your damage is now just going up. And as you can see in the bottom right, our overall gold every single time as well is also going up. Because we now have 3 times the chance to proc gold burst. And since we're now able to proc more, we're now doing more and more damage. As you can see, and now it's time to take out the supports. That was pretty poor judgment of me, just going right into the damage. As you can see, though, I can still lose this run because I don't have any kind of defense. I'll just go for blessing damage. And we'll just keep going. As you can see, yep, just like that, everything just dies. Boom, just like that. Okay. Going all in the gold. We'll go for precise gold. Here we got some luck, and we got the ability to get another gold blessing. So now that we have lethal gold, we're basically ensuring that enemies are going to die, and we're going to make our gold back, more or less. Anything for the gold. And we now have the boss. Now the boss of this area can be difficult depending. So we can once again. Oh man. Dash cooldown. And movement speed is actually pretty nice. Alright, so the second actual main boss of the game is one that is a bit difficult for a lot of people. He has a couple of combos that are a bit to deal with, but I'm going to do my best to show you guys how. So he can start off with this wave that he tries to suck you in with. He has this massive wave he can also use. Now, if you happen to fall off the arena is the thing that kills a lot of people. So here, when he does this tidal wave, it's best just to go to the left, then to the right, then to the left, so on and so on. He then has this wave of explosions that he can do. Once again, for the big wave, I just jump backwards off of the platform and then use my dash to then get back in. As you can see, the fight isn't too bad. So then, okay, we got our increased gold. So, once he's into phase 2, he'll then have a constant, as you can see, this constant waves going counterclockwise on the arena. It's not that big or that bad of a hindrance. As you can see, if you happen to get hit by the tidal waves, you will get sent off the arena. That is probably the thing that kills a lot of people, because when you get sent off of the arena, you get poisoned. And that poison can really do a lot of damage. On top of you're trying to get back to the arena, and as long as you're in that water, it's going to just keep ticking and ticking. As you can see, I'm going to just demonstrate it right now. As you can see, got to use my healing. So now in phase 3, he has 3 of these little tidal waves. So now it's even more of a game of just making sure your platforming skills are good. If you need to kind of readjust with some of these using your dash, by all means. Dang it. As you can see, it's not the best fight, but it's a decent showing of how to navigate and do this fight. But he's almost down for the count, and that'll get us our next trophy. And just like with the boss of the temple, when you beat this guy a second time, Wooden will be able to unlock a new ability. Thankfully, he's guaranteed every run, but the temple isn't. So now we can drop down into the hole and just be right here. So I'm just going to pick this up and then drop it. Now, after the garden boss, you're going to have a few of these tunnels that you can see. They'll have crystals in them that you're going to need to destroy in order to unlock our next weapon. As you can see, there's one there, and then last but not least, the 4th one is just over here. Once you break all 4, you can enter this door to then find the disc thrower. A pretty nice weapon overall. So now we can make our way into the 3rd area, which is always going to be the same. Now, depending on the starting room, we can also unlock our next ability. I'll try and point this out. So as you can see, depending on your starting room, this one, you'll have a bunch of these pillars. You can then also come in and jump up here to find the brine field. Now from here, we're just going to proceed forward. As you can see, the gold, it's too good. And since we pick up gold, we also gain movement speed, which is nice. As you can see, I don't even need to really worry about using my primary as much, because I just kill everything. Throw down my turret just for more damage. Like I said, it's more or less, if you get gold on the Tesla, it's more or less just GG, and having more gold means that your chances of having stuff proc are more than likely going to happen. Yeah, we're just going to do that. Not that we actually need it or anything. Here you find a locked vault in the 3rd area. This doesn't give you an ability or anything, but that's okay. You can also use your weapon to break pots. You don't need to use your melee. Probably should have said something like that. And we get a free aspect. Sure, why not? There we go. Can now move on. Alright, so here, as you can see, we got the same kind of starting room as last time. So here we have our next objective-based room, to where we just need to stay with this phantom. Enemies will infinitely respawn while we're doing this. So if that's another thing you want to try and do for some easy gold, by all means. There is a challenge for at least having 1,000 gold. So do keep that in mind. Which I think we'll easily achieve. Okay. Took some unnecessary damage, but that's fine. Okay. As you can see, the more gold we have, the more likely you are to turn enemies into gold. Now, this doesn't really work well on bosses, but we don't need it to. We just need to ensure that everything else dies pretty quickly. As you can see, it does. And then, like I've said, another thing you want to note while you constantly are playing is that you want to just keep track of enemies. So, like, you want to know what enemies are what, you know, oh, does this enemy melee? Is this enemy, you know, ranged? Are they a support? You know, stuff like that will really help. So here we're moving on to the next elite to deal with. This one is a bit different on how you want to deal with him. As you can see, he is going to spawn these giant containers here. So, how you want to deal with him is you want to more or less target his hands as much as you can. You want to break his two hands. He can regenerate them, so don't worry. And do be careful of whenever he throws down anything that can deal area of effect damage. As you'll see, once you break his hands, he then opens up his head for massive damage. Or more damage than anything else. This fight is going to be a bit slow just because I don't have the stuff that I need to really make it that good. And then last but not least, he then can do these like little shock waves. But other than that, he's a pretty easy fight. Probably the hardest part is just timing all of your jumps to when you need. Trying to target that hand. There we go. Trying to target the other hand. Now, if you wanted a riskier play style and you think you can pull it off, you can sit right in the middle with him. But I probably wouldn't recommend it. So, like, you'll be right here. There we go. As you can see, he's almost dead, more or less. There we go. And he's dead. And he also turned to gold, which is interesting. Here we got Thief's Eye. That's another good one, but it doesn't really do much for us right now. Here is the next weapon that you can get, but we sadly aren't on the right schedule for that. Sadly. Oh well. So basically, that one is time sensitive as well as another weapon. You basically just have to be going really well, or really fast, and getting exactly what you need. So here is another room that you can get the brine field canister on. As you can see, you've got these pillars, you just jump up, and then it's right here. Since we've already got it though, it's not there anymore. As you can see, our gold is more or less just going to keep going and going. And because we get movement speed from our gold, it's also pretty nice. Probably just going to weaken him a bit. There are a few enemies that are still a pain, even with this build going. There we are. There we go. As you can see, 5% chance based on gold is still decent. And just like that, room cleared. Boom, bam, pow. Killing the targets isn't that bad. You'll notice that there's one that has the blue light around them. That's the one that you're going to need to kill. All of the objective rooms are not bad because you can just not kill them, and more enemies are just going to spawn over and over and over again. So if that's something that you want to do to try and get the 1,000 gold, by all means. As you can see, even without trying to do the objective, we're still doing a decent amount. There we go. It's always this big guy, man, I swear. Okay, all that's left are these three. Should be pretty cake. Boom, done. Let's go. Okay. Okay, we've got the gold. Alright, so now we've got the big boy damage, right? So now let's see, what do we got? These I already got it. I don't need any of those. I will take a syringe just for safety. So dealing damage based on our gold is always really good. We're at the boss now, so we should have another merchant. I think over here. Let's see, do we got any more gold? What we got? Ooh. Is it really worth it though? I think so. And we'll take reaching gold. Yes, taking less damage based on our gold would have probably been better, but that's more or less something for harder runs. So now we have the third boss. High Priest. He's not bad. His normal version is pretty easy to deal with. As you can see, he can summon a giant crystal. He can also just throw crystals. He's got the lasers that he'll send out. You want to make sure you destroy that crystal for more or less just some free damage. Alright, and then every phase transition, he'll warp you to a room that will have traps for you to deal with and get through. As you can see. And then at the top is a crystal you're going to want to break. More or less, this will ensure that he doesn't spawn with a overshield when you come back. Whenever he summons out his clone... Oh, I messed that up pretty badly. As you can see, though, it's not terrible. You're more or less just going to try and get into the safe spot. Hold on to the dash while we can. As you can see, that gold burst still paying dividends. And then we'll take out the crystal that spawns. Okay, we're already in the safe area. As you can see, it's not like an overpowered run that we got going on, mainly just because we don't have all of our base upgrades before starting this. As you can see, we'll reload, head on into the second area. I'm going to take some damage for that. You got your third. Just barely missed that one. Okay. Once again. There we go. As you can see, being able to get this like right up on him is what's really going to give you that big burst of damage. As you can see, breaking the crystal is also what gives you a good decent amount of damage. Okay, we're already in the safe spot. Just kind of hit that 1-2 combo of firing our secondary and then targeting with the primary. Once you beat him, that'll get you your next trophy. Get some upgrades. We'll take the spiritual just for the sake of saying we picked it up. And now we'll move on. Now we're here in the last area. Get one more refill. Now, this is your next weapon that you can unlock that is also time-gated, sadly. Now, moving on, if we come out here, you have one of 3 paths to take. I hate the left path guy. That guy can just not exist. The other 2 aren't bad. I think this is the frog guy. Basically, at some point, you will want to fight and defeat all of these for a challenge, which we can ensure that it happens. So yeah, this is the frog guy. This one's not too bad. You want to wait before you throw anything down for the room transition to happen. Basically, it's just same old, same old. So what his main thing is, he can summon minions, and he can also cause these giant... Ow. Tidal waves to happen. Now, if you're just walking around, you will have more than enough time to do this. Basically just trying to break through. Oh, and I fell off. So again, we'll just chill over here, break through the water, rinse, repeat of the charged R2s into a light tap of our R1. And boom, just like that, they go down. What is going on? I don't need it. I don't need it. I have somewhat good hopes that we can beat this run because I know how to fight the last boss. So from here, we're at the end. He is not a tough fight, but if you don't know his moveset or patterns, it can be a bit tricky, especially when playing with people. As you can see, he's a pretty... what's the word? I'm forgetting the word. It's killing me here. So, as you can see, what you're going to want to do is, in any direction that he throws the spear is where you're going to want to drop to. Here you can see he'll have that line ability, and he'll dash, and then you want to follow him. Now, how his Phase 2 and his Phase 1 play out are somewhat a little bit different. More or less. As you can see, he'll then have this one move. He'll light it up. He'll do it again, wait till it lights up, then dodge. He likes to jump around a lot, as you can see. He'll then dash. You'll then follow. Wherever he throws his spear is where you want to go, more or less. And then the last thing to talk about is the giant following, like, beam of annoyance that he can summon. It's so annoying right here, as you can see. If they got rid of that move, I think this fight wouldn't be so bad for a lot of newer players. Okay, he's throwing it over here. As you can see, when that thing tracks onto you, you more or less gotta get out of there. And then the last, not the last thing, but another thing to take note of is he has these fields of cosmic rays or whatever that he does that will slow you down. Now that we're on to phase 2, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay. So at the start of phase 2, he's going to get these planets or orbs that are going to more or less shield him. So as you can see, he also has this melee move that he'll do, where he will attack 3 times, depending on what side of the arena. He then still has this move here. So what you want to do is just go to where that first lance was thrown, and that'll ensure safety. Here, it's the same as the start. You want to jump into his dash and then away from it to avoid more damage. So go into it, wait for his guys to dash, and then you follow. That's the one I see catch a lot of people out. This one, I'm just taking damage. There's nothing I can do about that one. But that's more or less the fight. It's not the worst, but it does get a lot of people. It's just about being consistent and knowing exactly where he is. So I'll wait, then I will dash over. And then the hardest part is whenever you have to take out his moons and you're trying to, you know, avoid damage. So you can see, I barely made that, so now I gotta come over here, and then I gotta come back. Just barely making it because of that slowing field. Okay, so it's coming over here. Oh, that's annoying. Ooh. And as you can see, I ended up dying. If I could have gotten better stuff, that would have been fine. Deal damage to 6 enemies at the same time. Yeah, that one's definitely going to happen. Defeat the boss of the gardens. Yeah. Oh well. As you can see, about 1,000,000 damage. It's pretty nice, or 1.3 from gold. So as you can see, I wasn't doing enough damage that run to really get what I want, right? But now what I can do is come over and spend our soul fragments and really start upgrading everything that we need, right? Max health, we need that. Weak spot damage is always really good. Let's see. Upgrade altars are probably the next thing I would want to go for, is in terms of upgrades. But I think that's where I'm going to end this first video. Hopefully this was helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form. The second video I'm probably going to cut out a lot. That way it's not just a lot of the same repetitive stuff, you know. And then, like, the last thing I want to mention is the main thing that we're working on is your challenges in the logbook. So as you can see, defeat the final boss, defeat the first elite, the third elite, kill 1,000 enemies, break 100 pots. Like, this is where you can track everything that you need to do, and these are where a majority of the challenges and trophies are tied to. As not all of these have a trophy tied to them, but a lot of them do. Like, have 1,000 health, fail 3 times at a wishing well. That one can actually be easily earned in a later run if you don't get it naturally. Have 1,000 gold on you, as you can see, having gold damage is just really good. Complete an expedition without using syringes. That one's actually not as hard. Like I said, the main thing that really makes you powerful is this soul wheel, and then whenever you have your uh, weapon unlocks, more or less, is really what it is. The main one I like is the charge beam, but that's just me. But anyways, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I do hope that this video and these guides are helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form. I do apologize that this first video is so long. Bear with me. This game's a little bit out of my normal comfort zone in terms of my Platinum Trophy guides. But as always, I'll see you all in the next video.